So welcome everyone. My name is Kamipa Makwa, Standing Bear, Soda, Tri-Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe. I am a 60s scoop survivor, and welcome to Standing Bear, the author, my YouTube channel. And we created this thing, this channel, to better explain in a little bit more. In a smaller segment, I do this live on Facebook, and it tends to be a little lengthy. I have to pack a lot of information in. So what I decided to do is to kind of shorten up little small segments, and so this is our first segment. So welcome. So welcome. What we're going to talk about today. The topic of the day is tobacco and why we offer it. We as Indigenous peoples, why we offer it, and we're also going to go into some practical ways that we can do that. My own experience with that. So tobacco, what is it? Tobacco is one of the four sacred medicines. This is my tobacco pouch right here. The other sacred medicines are cedar, sage, sweetgrass, and of course tobacco. And why do we offer tobacco? Right, that's a really good question. That's one of the main questions. Well, why do we? When we say a prayer for somebody, why do we have to offer with tobacco? And that's a good question, and that's why we're here today. So basically, tobacco is sacred medicine. The backstory to this is that tobacco, the way our history goes, the story goes, tobacco offered itself to be the messenger, the physical messenger between our prayers and the ears of Creator. So with the we have to offer something for our prayers to be heard, because everything that we do in indigenous spirituality is done in a circle, right? This is a braid of sweetgrass, so everything is done in a circle. We are intertwined and overlapping. Um, Circle medicine. How is that related to our spiritual prayer life? Well, we live in a colonial world that they don't really offer anything for our prayers. So say I need something, I need this, I need a better job, I need prayers for this person, I need prayers for that one. I need. And one of the first prayers that we learn in indigenous spirituality is harmony and balance. We are out, humanity, Mother Earth is suffering because we as a species, we don't understand this prayer, the original prayer, the ancient sacred agreements of harmony and balance. So what we are doing with each offering, with each prayer, is restoring that harmony balance. And really, it's just done one prayer at a time. We have to offer something for our prayers to be heard. It's really that simple. Asking without offering is spiritual stealing. Asking without offering is spiritual stealing. So if we want our prayers to be heard, and it doesn't matter if it's for somebody else too. Well, why do we stand there? Why do we have to offer something when we're giving prayers of love and light to them? Well, because we want our prayers to be heard. Okay, so otherwise we become a world of takers, right? Takers, and that I need this, I need that, I need this, I need this prayer, I need this, I need this, that, the other thing. So that's why Grandfather Tony, my elder, said, "Hey, look, let's start offering prayers." And a little bit about my backstory is, I've been walking the Red Road for 30 years, and in my early 20s is when I met my elder, my indigenous elder, Grandfather Tony Stonehawk. He's Lene Lenape, and so so we started this journey together. And back in the day, I was really just, I really just wasn't doing well. I was outside, it may have appeared that I was doing really well. I was a USA swimming national champion. I was doing all this, but I was kind of drinking and drugging. I would, on the side, a colorful past, right? And so anyway, I met Grandfather Tony, and I started to tell him about all my struggles, right? And then he said, well, let's. And then he did that one good thing. He said, he listened to me, um, and then further on in that conversation, we were at ceremony. We were in Central Florida in ceremony, and he said, I need you to go by that fire, and I need you to make some prayers. I need you to make some offerings. And, I thought they were two separate things. I didn't know what he was talking about. Again, this is circle of medicine, right? We have to live full circle. We have to live full circle. And, back 30 years ago, I really didn't understand what that meant. So he handed me a bag much like this. It was full of tobacco, like this one is. And he said, go over there to the fire. It was a sweat lodge ceremony. And so he said, go over there to that fire. Not that I knew what a sweat lodge ceremony was in my first ceremony. So he said, take this, and I need you to offer tobacco to the fire. And just introduce yourself to the fire. And I was kind of there, and I was like, yeah, well, the elder, I probably should listen to the elder. So, I didn't want to be disrespectful. But on the other hand, I had no idea what I was doing. I literally had no idea what I was doing. So I walk over to the fire. There was a firekeeper there, and I just kind of said this. He said, go ahead. And then I just kind of raised my, took a little pinch of tobacco, just like this. A little pinch goes a long way, right? So, Grandfather Tony, I remember him saying something, well, introduce yourself to the fire, and felt like a lie. The very first thing, I'm full-blood Indigenous, Soto First Nation, Soto Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nation, and I'm sitting there at the ceremony not having any idea what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I'm just following directions of that elder that said, why don't you go over there and do this? And I'm sitting there thinking okay, well, I'm kind of over here. I should probably just look like I'm attempting to try to do this. And, I felt really clumsy, and I felt very, just didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, I take this little pinch of tobacco, and I kind of offered it to the fire. I did that, and went and sat down. There was no burning bush. There was no, the skies didn't open up. There were no harps playing. There were no kitty fluffy cattails or nothing, anything like that. And I just felt there, and I really started to feel like a fraud, because I'm like, I kind of thought something would happen, and nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. So, a little while later, I'm like, well, maybe I should just try it again. I've been sitting here for 10 minutes not doing anything, so maybe I should just go over there and try it again. So I kept on doing this. I kept on going over. And, eventually Grandfather Tony came over and said, kind of sat down to me and said, the elders, when they sit down next to you, they just kind of give you a head nod. I'm like, he gave me a little head nod, and I just give him a little head nod back, not knowing, what that meant. But what he was telling me is, just good job, keep going. That, when the elders do that, just kind of yeah, good job. Just keep going. Yeah, good. Just keep, and Grandfather Tony has a thing saying, pray hard, right? Pray hard. And if that doesn't work, just pray harder. So, so that's what I did. That's really where I started. That's where over the course of the next couple months and into the next years, I kept on doing what he told me to do. Now, let me back up a little bit. Not too far after that first ceremony, he said, I need to get a bag of tobacco, and I need you to do something. And I said, okay, Grandfather, what would you like me to do? And he said, well, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to pray in the morning. And I want you to pray to all those beautiful things out there. And, again, I'm a 60 scooper, which means 60 scoop. If you don't know, that means the Canadian government, as for policy, came into Healthy Families Reserves, and they stole children and they gave them to orphanage and foster care, and so that's where I ended up. I was stolen the day of my birth, and I was given to an orphanage, and I aged up to foster care, and then I was later sold to a white American family in the states, the Snowgroves. That's where I get my colonial name, the Snowgroves, and so so. So yeah, that's how that the 60s group. That's how I wasn't brought up in my culture. I was brought up in the colonial culture. So anyway, so Grandfather Tony gives me this bag of tobacco and says, well, just pray in the morning, pray to everything beautiful out there. And I'm looking at Tony like I'm wounded. I basically everything about me screamed that I was wounded. Everything screamed, in that situation, just real quick, I felt really, I felt unlovable. My mother rejected me, and back in the '70s, race was a big issue back then, right? So I would go home after school. The kids would make fun of me because I was dark skinned, and then I would try to like wash my color off me, and so it broke the boy in me, right? It really did. It just broke. I mean, I was so broken as a little kid, right? So now I grew up and as a broken young man, right? And so when Grandfather Tony said, "Here, I need you to go, and I need you to pray in the morning to everything beautiful out there," and I'm looking at Tony and Tony Sono, and I'm looking at Pops. We call him Pops, and I'm looking at him like, "There's nothing beautiful out there, Tony. I don't understand what you're talking about." And he said, "Pray until you do see something beautiful out there," and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, Tony. I really just don't know. I just don't know. But I'll do what you asked me to do. So I took this bag of tobacco, and I would wake up, and he called it like this. He called it like the 30-day challenge, and so we're going to call it the 30-day challenge. And so he said, wake up in the morning and say a prayer. And so this is kind of like, this is the beginning. We walk the red road. It's the indigenous spiritual path. It is the road of wellness, the road that connects to all other roads, right? I did not know this in the beginning. He's just telling me to say a few prayers in the morning, and I figured I could do that. I figured I could at least do that for 30 days, right? So this is kind of how it went. The first day, I kind of took this bag, a little thing of tobacco again, and I said, well. And I was kind of morning guy, anyway. So I would wake up in the morning, like way before dark, and I would just sit there, drink my coffee, and lament about my life. And then I would say, well, okay, I should do this thing. So I said, all right, and I had no idea. God had rejected me, and then Creator had forgotten about me, and then I was unlovable. So that's kind of where my headspace was at. And I'm just kind of sitting here thinking with this, little pinch of tobacco, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, I don't know who's out there. If you're out there, and I just said it. I just said thank you for life, which again. I really didn't feel that in my heart. I really didn't feel, because I was brutalized. I was tortured. I was just, it's not funny, but it's just, I was sitting there thinking like, all right, whoever's out there, I guess I thank you for this day. And Grandfather Tony told me to do it, so I'm sitting here and I'm doing it. And you know what? And I really felt like a fraud. I felt like a real fake, right? I really did. But the second day comes around, and it was a little better, and I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, I'm here again, and I'm making this offering, and I'm grateful for life, I guess. I probably should be, but it was like if there's a God, I'm really angry at you, and just like so so this went on, but I did it anyway. I did it because I really at that point in my life, I had really nowhere else to go, right? So then probably by the and so I would call up Pops and say, Pops, I'm like doing this thing, and I'm not quite sure how to do this. He said, well, just give thank you for today. Just thank you for today. Thank you for recovery. Thank you for I'm in recovery. So I said thank you for recovery, and then I said okay. So it would be like all right, well, all right, well, here I am again. This is the second week. So the second week, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, well, I don't want to. Okay, I guess I'll do this. And okay, well, okay, I'm here, God. If you're out there, I don't believe in you, but if you're there, Creator, okay, Great Spirit, it was something like it was really clumsy. That's like the thing, right? But the thing is, I kept on doing it, right? I may have skipped a day here and there. I cannot really remember. But then by the third week, it was just kind of like, okay, Creator, my name's Wayne, and thank you for today. And that's really what it was like. And then by the fourth week, it was just kind of like, okay, Creator, my name's Wayne. I'm really hurting right now. I really don't believe in you. I'm just like, I just, and I was in like that victim mode, right? And so I said, well, just kind of help me today. Just help me stay sober today, right? And then what happened was, this is called contrast medicine. And I didn't quite understand that, right? Contrast medicine. And so I said, Tony, it's I did it for 30 days, and today's day 31. So what do I do now? And I kind of felt like I kind of should have been doing it. I said, well, wake up. I kind of got a routine going. I drink my coffee, and then I'll run out to go to a meeting, and I'll come back, and then I'll do my prayers. And so he said, well, and I said, Tony, I feel like I kind of missed something here, man. And then he kind of laughed, the way the elders kind of laughed, like, well, go ahead and do it. And I said, okay, good. And I thought that was the end of that. And so just before we hung up, he said, well, just do it for another 30 days, right? And I'm like, I knew there was a catch. I knew there was a catch in here. So I said, okay, Tony, I'll do it for another 30 days. But after that, and so I did it for another 30 days. And then I did it for another 30 days. And then I did it for another 30 days. And then here, 30 years later, I'm still doing it. And this is what it sounds like today, And, again, it's just kind of like, I take a little pinch of tobacco. I said, Creator, thank you for my life. Thank you for this day. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for all the things of abundance. Thank you for recovery. Thank you for long-term recovery. I offer my life to you now, Creator. You have given me life. Now I offer my life to you. You have given me life. Now I'm offering life. So, Creator, I will go where you want me to go, and I will do what you want me to do. I will be your voice. Please have your spirits guide through me. Please have your voice flow through me so I can help others. It's a little bit more in depth, but really that's it. Really. And really the days, and now we had a young lady in the circle. We do We Are the Medicine Circle in the morning on Facebook, and she said it's a 3-day opportunity, and I said that's outstanding. That's outstanding. I love that. So now we call it the 3-day opportunity. It's not really a challenge. It's really the opportunity. And people are this is about connection, right? This is about healing. So what we're doing on an individual basis, the old ones say, if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. And if it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin, right? So what Tony was doing 30 years ago was telling me start my day beginning with prayer, beginning with the Spirit. That's what he was doing. And what he was doing was he was teaching me a little, the prayers was. He was pointing me where I would learn this place of humility, this place of gratitude. And I eventually found this place of love. When I saw this place of love out there, I began to feel it in here. And then I started to notice the sunrise. And I would ride down to, I used to live in South Florida, so I used to ride down to the beach every morning and watch the sunrise, And I just said, thank you, Just said, thank you. I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I survived, but thank you. Now, how can I help you? Then my attention turned to how I can help you. How can I, it's really as simple as that. And then guided by this beautiful, intuitive, this beautiful thing, right? And now I get to live a beautiful life. And I would have never got there, if it weren't for offering and offering tobacco. There's two separate things, right? Offering and offering tobacco. And then offering my life for having a life. Because I can't tell you how many times I was minutes, moments, and seconds away from death and not even know it. There's a bunch of times that I really did know it. Survivor of, unbelievable depression and unbelievable violence and I have a really colorful past. So, but there is a way out of that, right? Back then, I just didn't know. We don't know till we don't know. And, what's funny is, when kind of like earlier, when I was kind of the first couple months, Grandfather Tony, he teaches all the time, right? He says, well, this is contrast medicine. And I thought I knew something about the medicine. I said, there's no contrast medicine in the medicine. What are you talking about? There's love and there's emotional and spiritual. And he said, well, and then he goes night and day. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll shut up, but really, so that contrast medicine is really beautiful and really powerful. So anyway, my name is Kanipa with Macwa, and we're gonna keep up these little segments, these shorter segments. It's about 22 minutes. I thought I was going to keep it about in 10 minutes. I fail miserably, though, every time. I just get caught up in the spirit, right? I get caught up in this beautiful thing called love. So my name's Kanipa with Macwa, Standing Bear, and if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. Let's have a great day.